Welcome back to the Larry Mendte Show, News Radio 1450 WIOM and 1410 WDOV. We've been talking about President Obama's town hall meeting in Virginia last night, covered by CNN, moderated by Anderson Cooper. Invite only, so they knew exactly who was going to be there. And when you got there, you were allowed to ask maybe one question, depending on what the question was. Everything was screened. Still, it was pretty good. Even though it was that controlled, it still wasn't too bad. And at the very end of it, the president had to admit that these executive orders he just signed really wouldn't do too much to lessen crime and wouldn't have prevented any of the recent mass shootings we had. Basically, he did it just to do something. That's what it came down to. That's what you got out of it, is that he did it just to do something. Now, one of those gun dealers, one of those gun shop owners that the president liked to talk about so much last night and likes to target so much, at least over the last 7 years, is on the line right now. Carl Pace from Trinity Tactical USA. Carl, thanks a lot for joining us this morning again.
Always a pleasure to be on the show, and good morning, Larry.
Hey, Carl, listen, before we start, a couple of things. I just went to your Facebook page. You're running for state senate?
I am running for state senate in the 14th district for Delaware, yes. I made it official on January 4th, and we're having our campaign kickoff party Friday the 15th at Frog Hollow in Middletown.
Now, why would you do that to yourself?
Well, it's not why would I do that to myself. It's why would I assist the people of Delaware in running. I mean, look at some of the things that we got going on in the state of Delaware. We need a politician that's not afraid to stand up against party lines at times and really just do what's right for the people of the state of Delaware. And I strongly feel like I am that person and willing to do those things.
So you're running on much more than just gun rights.
Definitely. I mean, there's a lot more that affect the state of Delaware than just gun rights. We're starting back in legislation here in the next couple of days, but we got education issues in Delaware that need to be addressed. We have budget issues, jobs, economy. Delaware, unfortunately, has changed dramatically, and it's not all for good. So there's a lot of things that need to be addressed, and we need the right people in office to make sure that there's a future for the state of Delaware. And, I have a 3-year-old daughter. I want to make sure that there's something here for her as she continues to grow, starting with her education, moving through to making sure that she has a job as she, graduates high school and can really make a family and a life here in Delaware like we have.
Yeah, the state needs money more than anything else. It's got to stop the bleeding. We can't ride this DuPont cash wagon anymore. That's gone.
Gone. 1,700 jobs looking to be lost. And I think what some of the people are losing in that as well is not only the 1,700 jobs that are going to be lost, but if you read that in detail, they're not looking also at the DuPont legacy people, individuals that worked at DuPont for 20, 30 years. They retired, they have a pension, and now that might disappear. So in addition to the 1,700, we're probably looking at in the senior community, because they're retired, that are also going to lose money as well as a result of this DuPont's merger.
Well, good luck, Carl. That just means we either talk less or I have to give your opponents some equal time. So that's the only problem with this. But good luck to you. Look, I want to get into the Second Amendment stuff, and I want to get your reaction to the president. But before we do that, there in Philadelphia, and this sickens me, a Philadelphia police officer overnight was the victim of an ambush. Somebody just walked up to his car and emptied their gun, a 9mm gun, 13 shots into the car. Luckily, it seems like only 3 hit him. He's going to survive. Somehow, he survived this, and he was able to get off shots. He shot the guy, and the guy's been caught. But I just want you to comment, since you're a former law enforcement officer, on the climate out there and how it affects police.
Police today, unfortunately, are in a situation where, they're nervous to do their job. Think back of any time in U.S. history where we had such blatant disregard for law enforcement, where law enforcement, unfortunately, did not have the support of the community that they work in. Yet here we are, when we need them, we call 911. The same people that are calling 911 because they need them, on the flip side, are saying how much they hate the police. So, it's a really complicated scenario right now for law enforcement officers. They have to always watch their back, regardless. I mean, you can't even stop and have a cup of coffee anymore without worried about somebody shooting you down in your car. It's absolutely horrendous. And I would say to the community that does support law enforcement, show them that you support them. They need that support. To know that the job that they're doing, that we recognize it, and that we do support our law enforcement officers.
Very well said. We're talking to Carl Pace, who is President and Chief Executive Officer, or Chief Operating Officer at Trinity Tactical USA. He's also a candidate now for state senate. You said, I got it through the grapevine, you've said something interesting about these executive orders, that they don't affect Delaware that much because it's already happening in Delaware. Is that right?
Our legislators took care of that probably 4 years ago now, when we put through the gun show loophole. I mean, we pulled it in with a few other things, but the governor put that through. And so really this particular executive order is not going to really affect Delaware. In Delaware, if you're going to purchase a firearm, whether it be at a gun show, over the internet, all of the things that he put into this executive order, Delaware is already effectively doing this. So this particular executive order is not going to affect Delawareans as much. However, I always look at the give an inch, take a mile. So if we allow this to go through and there's no pushback on this or minimal pushback on this, it's just a matter of time before he's moving forward with additional executive orders. And I feel like that before November, he is really going to try to put a strong foothold down to show that he is an anti-firearms president, and we probably have not seen the last of his anti-gun.
See, the content of the executive orders, Carl, doesn't affect me that much, and I don't care that much. I really don't. I don't think it's that big of a deal to close these loopholes. I don't think it's that big of a deal to go after mental health. What bothers me is the way he did it. That's what bothers me more than anything else, that he keeps going to executive order when the will of the people or the will of the legislature is against him. How do you feel about his use of executive order, not just on this issue, but over and over and over again?
It's the old do it my way or I'm taking my ball and going home. It's playground mentality. So, he's the president of the free world. We can't continue to do business like that. We have our, government set up in a style that is supposed to represent the people. When he circumvents that system to do things his own way, all of a sudden we're no longer in a free world of the United States. It becomes more of a dictatorship than the government that was set up to represent the people. So I firmly disagree with the executive orders that he's put into place, regardless whether it's Second Amendment or any other for that matter. If something is for the good of the people, it should be able to be passed through the legislative branches in the proper manner and passed in the proper manner to show that the people stand behind these decisions that are being made. And the way that he's doing it proves essentially that the people do not support the decisions he's making, or they could have been done another way.
Again, Carl Pace, who is the President and Chief Operating Officer at Trinity Tactical USA. They sell guns. Where's your place again, Carl?
I am at 4435 Summit Bridge Road across from Summit Aviation under the Big Guns and Gold sign.
And I would imagine they always say, and you've said it a couple of times, the president is the best gun salesman. Sales are up?
He is. Sales are up dramatically. I don't even need to look at the news anymore to know when he talks. I just show up at the store and see the line out front. I know that he said something on the radio or the news.
All right, Carl, thanks a lot. Good talking to you.
Larry, always good talking to you as well. You have a great day.
We'll be back.